Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tech Show with Daryoush. My name is Daryoush, your host. My guests are Robert Blakely, also known as the Blakester, and Kurt Roskop from the Disability Channel USA, and Emily Goldmer from Onward and Upward. Before beginning to talk, I am going to say that I have a very good news. Next week is Robert's birthday, and Robert, in advance, happy birthday, my friend.
Happy birthday.
A couple of weeks ago, there was a wide ransomware attack in some countries, especially in the US, and there was so many issues happened. What is ransomware? The ransomwares are usually a small piece of code that is copied to your computer, usually, and sometimes on your website, and it encrypts all your files, everything on your computer or on the website, and messages will be displayed asking some money to provide you the tools to decrypt and get your files back. This is one of the ways that hackers make money. And these ransomwares, in order to pay, you have to pay it in cryptocurrency. So it is not easy to track where it goes, to whom it goes. And there is no guarantee that after this attack, your website or your computer is safe again. According to Ping Drop, 70% of the enterprises that are victims of ransomwares, they paid to the hackers. And another report from Threadpost says that 80% of the victims that paid to the hackers were again the victim of another attack. This is just one of the security issues that everyone is faced. Maybe you think that you don't have anything important on your website, but this is just an excuse. If you don't have anything important, there wouldn't such kind of attacks. There wouldn't any malware. There wouldn't any spyware. And if your data was not important, nothing would happen. No one wastes his time for nothing. Most of the times, you may say that you don't have anything important, but how many of you has ever tried to take a look to the dark web and see if your private information are on those websites? From time to time, we see that we hear that some private photos from celebrities are exposed. How these information are exposed. Maybe you don't, hackers, I said before, you have valuable things on your website. If you have a website, if you have a computer, if you have a website, the minimum valuable thing that you have is a web space that you pay for it. And when a hacker can access to it, they have a free web space to start distributing malwares. Maybe you go and take a look to your files. Do you have the expertise to understand this script or that script is a legitimate code or a virus or malware? No antivirus can identify them. These are the scripts that have been prepared to be executed on a server, not on a Windows or Mac computer. And these scripts cannot be identified by the antiviruses on the desktop or mobile antiviruses, because those antiviruses contain the database of viruses and malwares that must be executed on the computer, not on the server. And hackers do not use the same script, the same algorithm for so many times. They all the time evolve, all the time use new scripts, new algorithm, new encryption technology, and finding them is not easy. Nothing is absolute. So if you think you don't have anything important, think again and do not use an excuse. Maybe you are the next victim. Think about it. Robert, what do you want to say?
To make sure that I was off of mute. I like that at the end there. You scared me. You scared me, man. Well, we definitely don't want to be a victim. And yeah, no, I get it. We definitely don't want to be a victim in that sense. And as somebody that's been in the network marketing space for so many years, I know what you're talking about because I've seen that type of stuff. And as you know, I've had my website attacked before. Remember? Yeah. It was not fun. And you know, if nothing else, it just takes the wind out of your sails. You know, literally stops you in your tracks. It takes forever to try to rebuild from there. So definitely would be a wise decision to be thinking about security. So for myself, I just wanted to talk to everybody today about something that's kind of common that I use in my teaching, right? And that's knowing your metrics. So a lot of us hear this, you know, network marketers talking about know your metrics, but what are metrics, right? What does it mean when somebody says metrics? But what it means, in my perspective, is just the numbers, right? Because in essence, if you break this down, this internet marketing thing or online business thing, it's all a numbers game, guys. That's all it comes down to. So it's a numbers game. And just like I've mentioned in past episodes when I was doing door to door, you know, that's legitimately all it was. So we would have roughly 3 streets, right? Both sides, left and right. And our mission, our job was to go talk to everybody on those 3 streets. Now, obviously, you weren't going to do it just in one pass, right? So you had to get a game plan. You had to go through the first time, register the people that you could, and then you'd go back a second time to register the people that you missed, and then you go back yet a third time to pick up the people that you missed the first and the second time. Now, by the time that you went on your third journey around, now you had all of your neighbors that you could use for third party, like Tom and John and Bob and, you know, Sue over there. And when you're able to use that third party, it's really a beautiful thing. right? But that's not what we want to talk about at third party. Talk about the numbers in general, though, right? So, as you may have heard me mention before, so when we were doing this, we were getting paid $10 an hour to help people save money on their electric bill, right? So nowadays, this same job, if you go out there because the market has changed, you're not going to get paid less than $200. But the amount of doors that you now have to knock on because there's so many people inside of this, this law change, so to speak, are a lot more, right? So they're fewer and farther to find is what I'm getting at. So that's why they'll pay more. But the same thing that they're paying now $200 for, I was doing 18 plus years ago. We were only getting paid $10 a day. So what did that mean to me? Well, $100 18 years ago a day was pretty good money, in my opinion. It wasn't the greatest, but it was pretty good, especially starting out. So I knew that if I wanted $100 a day, that meant that I had to close 10 customers because I made $10 off of each customer, right? So I had to go out and then figure out, well, how many people did I actually have to talk to get those 10 customers? See, this is something that isn't really taught, and a lot of people don't really think about it. But I covered this with one of my students the other day. I said, okay, that's great. You're moving along. She's seeing success and traction based off of what I'm teaching her. I said, now, how many presentations did it take you to get that new one sale that you got? She thought about it. She said, actually, I hadn't been keeping track of everything. But she had come in, she told me, she had made this many contacts or whatever and had this sale. I said, okay, well, how many did it take to get to that? And I told her why I'm telling you guys is because you need to know if you talk to 10 people and you have a canned response, like the same presentation done properly the same way each time, now you can gauge your actions, right? So if you know that you talk to and share your information with 10 people and 2 of them register, now that means that you've got a 20% closing ratio. So that's not bad, right? So what does that mean? If you want more customers, that just means you have to talk to more people, right? Again, it's all a numbers game. So knowing your metrics is very important. Even keeping track of the people that you talk to, and especially the follow-up, right? Because the beauty is in the follow-up. You'll hear everybody say that, but there's so many times that people fail to follow up. And we've mentioned it in the past, again, numbers wise, you need to follow up at least 5 to 12 times. If you don't know that person, you haven't built a know like trust with them. So there's another metric number, right? You need to know your numbers. So if I go and I share it with 10 people, how many will I get? Right now, you take that number and now you can duplicate it. Say if you got 2 out of 10 and you're looking to get 10, then there's your numbers. That means you need to make sure you go talk to all people, right? So now the key about knowing these metrics, though, is that once you get started and you know that you're at that 20% closing ratio and you're keeping track of everything, as you get better and better explaining or talking to these folks, right, you'll see your percentages go up 30, 40, maybe even 50%. Just depends on who your clientele is, what you're selling, who your target audience is. Powerful for you to know those numbers, because if you take your basic number, you know what those are, and you start seeing your numbers go up and you're getting better and better, that's going to also instill confidence in you, knowing that you're on the right path for better, right? The more confidence that's instilled in you, the higher and quicker that number is going to go up. See, I've seen people be able to lift off into the stratosphere within 30 to 60 to even 90 days. It just, again, depends on your audience, your product, and who you're talking to. But if you're not out there and you're not making those conversations, you're not talking about your business, obviously you're not going to get those sales. So it's very important to know your matrix, guys. Know your matrix. How many people you're talking to per day? I teach my students that they need to make 30 connections a day is what I want them to make. Not for me, but for them, right? I know that if they go out there and they make 30 connections per day and they're having those conversations, eventually something's going to pop, right? And if you go and you give the information to somebody, follow up with them, give them 2-3 days and make sure you have that follow up. What happens, right, is you build up this little cycle of leads of people that are interested. Then all you're doing is going to the follow up. Now, if you're following up properly, then great. Then you're going to start getting some of those sales. But again, it's super, super important, super key for you guys to know your metrics. If you're not learning your metrics, then you really need to start now. So that's all I got for you today, brother. Know your metrics, man. Know your metrics.
Thank you. What do you think about it, Kurt?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it is an under practiced element, for people trying to get their results and navigating their next day and week and months. I would say the lion's share of people out there don't keep a handle on their metrics. And the other powerful piece of it is, with metrics, we're quantifying our activities. So the other stuff you do, Blakester, is you help people, on the quality side of things. There's the quantity and then there's the quality. So, but the two go hand in hand, because when you have the metrics, that can get you thinking like, why is it, like, you might be surprised, like how low it is, or you might be pleasantly surprised, like, oh, I didn't realize I was performing that well. And then you can start to look at the whys. Why are the numbers showing up the way that they are? And you can make some professional development decisions to say that maybe I need to consider what I'm doing as I'm engaging with prospects, or I'm running events and these numbers are the way they are. I can say, maybe I'm not asking my audience enough questions, and maybe I want to learn more because I didn't realize that so many people were disinterested, or I'm getting better results than I thought, and I want to maintain that. So I want to understand why things are going so good, so I can keep it going for the rest of the year. So yeah, I think you've got to get the numbers. Yeah.
The beauty of that, and the word that you use is quantifiable. I love that. Perfectly said. Quantifiable.
And one question, Kurt, about the ransomware. Do you know any of the groups or websites or businesses in the disability community that were the victim of the ransomware attacks?
I'm not as familiar with ransomware. I mean, even seeing the word, I feel like I'm being introduced to it. I'm guessing maybe it's not being introduced today, but that's not a word that I would use, or name or reference, ransomware. But no, I'm not as familiar with the challenges people are having at home, or even in disability services, about, attacks or vulnerability there. To me, it's more about, just people in there victimizing a person with a disability. Like social media and the actual interactions can go that direction, where people will learn about their disability benefits or something out of real-time conversation and so forth. But I'd have to say no, I'm not aware.
Most of the businesses that are the victims of the ransomwares are service providers, e-commerce websites, businesses, and any kind of business that they contain, that they have information on their websites. And even if they don't keep anything on their websites, their computer networks get hacked, and the ransomware will be executed on their systems. The problem is that most of the businesses do not, at first, they claim they don't have anything important, and they refuse to use any security plan or even think about it. And when they get hacked and they become the victims of the hackers, they pay them without mentioning in so many cases. Just because I don't know why they don't mention. Maybe they it is not clear that they just encrypted, they have just encrypted the information or have stolen something, because they don't have any security policy. They don't have any anything to keep track of what has happened on their network. So it is better not to say anything than saying something that they have no answer for that, because they don't know about it. And again, they don't follow any security policy. They don't think about it again and say, okay, we paid and we are done. They don't come after us. But the researchers say that 80% of the organizations that paid the ransom, they were hit a second attack. Let me show you the script, the news. Yes, that's it. You see, 80% of organizations that paid the ransom said they were hit by a second attack. Which one is cheaper for them? Hiring some, using some security service, some security policy, or paying to the hackers all multiple times?
The service, yeah. Point well
Gonna
made.
go with security.
Yeah.
But it happened multiple times to me that I suggested I offered my service to a company, they refused. And sometime later, I heard that hackers hacked the website, stole their information, the client's list, and gave it to the competitor. And he went out of the business. This is what they do. You don't pay them, they give your information to someone else and get paid for that. So
Something that I just thought of too, on the flip side of that, maybe you might know, but what are the numbers of people that are actually caught when they do something like that? I would imagine they're pretty low.
yes, pretty low. From time to time, if you see the news, if you follow these news, not so many hackers, they find them, they arrest them, but in so many cases, not so many of them are hacked, and there is a reason for that. I said that some time ago that in so many countries, there is a law that if you are a victim of cyber attack, law enforcement protects you. But they don't know anything if you don't go to them and open a lawsuit against for them. When you go to the law enforcement and open a file, they will follow up and get and find the hacker, the person who did this, and arrest him and put it and deliver it to the law. But in so many cases, no one does anything. And those hackers that from time to time, we see in the news that this guy was like, this hacker was arrested, These are the ones that made a large number of attacks to the public services. And again, the one that has opened a lawsuit against them is the government. There is always someone that must open a file against the cyber attack so that the law enforcement can do something. But the best thing is to take the precautions. So many people think that cybersecurity is a cost. No, it is not a cost. It is an investment. It is an investment to protect your business, to protect your assets. The same way that you protect your home, your company, your store, you must
I don't
protect.
see, I don't mean to laugh when you're saying that, because there's things that are flying through my mind right now, because when you were
What?
saying that, that's the same thing that I was thinking automatically. I was like, well, just look at it. It's kind of like insurance. But the shitty thing about insurance that we all know about, especially in the United States, is it's you're paying for a what if. You know what I mean? And people have a hard time getting around that what if. That's what the big issue is, I believe. You know? So if you can get around that what if, then maybe it'll be a little bit easier. But it's one of those things that, like, I don't know. It's almost like damned if you do, damned if you don't.
There's a saying. There is a saying that there are two types of web businesses: those that they know they have been hacked, and those that they don't know yet that their systems have been hacked. The difference between the cybersecurity and insurance of car, of your home, or things like that, is that as long as nothing has happened, you just pay for what? If something happened, but no one is all the time trying to attack your home or your office, try to burn it, put it
Hey,
into
depends on what
flame.
neighborhood you live in.
But in the cyber world and on the internet, there are always attacks. One of my own websites, sometimes it has 3,000 times a day it gets attacked. They attack it. They couldn't hack it yet. But sometimes it has so many times that the website is under attack. Every day it is under attack.
Well, when mine got attacked, if I remember correctly, it was malware, wasn't it?
When?
I remember. I don't remember. It was how many years ago?
Like
hackers,
when hackers, look, when hackers hack a website, if they cannot find any email address, anything that any email address or any other kind of information, they install a malware that whoever opens a web page, that malware is installed on their computer and steal information. Or they distribute a virus, a computer virus. This is how viruses are distributed in so many cases. Most of the web hosting companies, they have firewalls, they have security policies, but many of them, in order to provide a cheap price, they don't make so much investment over the security. If you want to secure your business, it's your business. It's your responsibility. So it is better always to protect yourself. You do take the precautions yourself. You can say, okay, this is the hosting responsibility, but have you ever read the long terms of service text that you said you clicked, I agree, when you wanted to get the hosting service? Not so many people read that.
No one reads that.
No one reads. They are not responsible.
way-
You are
by the way,
responsible
you're-
for your data.
Yeah, by the way, you're signing off all of your rights, all of your children. Please read it. No, we don't.
Okay, our time is up. Thank you everyone for joining us. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us. These are the contact information of me, Kurt, and Robert. We would be glad to help you, to answer you, and be in contact with you. Soon, the Disability Channel is going to celebrate ADA. It is 31 year, the birthday. Yep. And Kurt is planning has a big plan for it. We would be glad to hear about you. We invite you to join us. Kurt, if you have anything about it, you can say it before saying goodbye.
Yeah, we do have it done through the Happy Neighborhood Project, which is the Happy Neighborhood Project .com, happyneighborhoodproject.com. And you can find it on social media. We have HMP Ability on Facebook and LinkedIn, also Happy Neighborhood Project Ability, and the event is on there. You can find it, respond, and find the registration link and everything for the day, and also can contact me if you've got any questions and are interested to join us. 2 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. It's a 3-hour span of activities. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, and have a good weekend.
Choo-choo, love you, bye-bye.
Stay safe. Bye.
Bye-bye.